Hello, viewers at home. My name is Akinwale Ojomo. You're welcome to Global Culture, and welcome to another brand new year, 2012. And I'm welcoming you, like I mentioned to you last year, that we're going to be having new guests, new excitement, and new session in addition to this program. Today, we have a special guest right here. Our guest, please, can you tell our viewers, what's your name, sir?
My name is Afram Emeka Ugwonye.
Excellent. And which organization do you represent?
I am a lawyer and I am the president of Ekula Group,
Oh.
which is a law firm here in the United States, also in Nigeria, and in affiliation with some other legal services entities.
Excellent. Okay. Like we mentioned, this year is going to be a brand new year. What we're going to do with this show is to do the best of 2011 and look at the outlook of 2012. So, sir, what do you think? Three things quickly. What comes to your mind that you can say, hey, it happened in the United States and even your home country, by the way, Nigeria and other African countries?
Well, in 2012, United States is going to see whether Barack Obama is going to be re-elected,
Okay.
or whether he's going to be a one-time president.
Okay.
So we are watching very closely what
Right.
is going on with the Republican primaries.
Okay.
It's ultimately going to be a question of which of the candidates will be the best opponent to President Obama.
Okay. Excellent. That's in the United States.
In the United States.
Okay.
Of course, in Nigeria, I have a far more pessimistic assessment
Okay.
in light of the ongoing crisis in Nigeria. The twin major problems in Nigeria today, the escalation of violence by the Boko Haram sect and the developments in the past few days relating to the removal of fuel subsidies in Nigeria and the resultant protest, mass protests all over the country. All these tend to give me deep concerns about this year for Nigeria.
Okay.
But I believe this could pass. It depends on how the government handles it in the next coming days.
Okay, I know we mentioned about we call it the best of 2011. Can we talk about the Arab Spring? Because I think we can have a link between the Arab Spring and what is happening in maybe possibly going to happen in other African countries this year. You going to have a look, take a back at that?
That's correct, actually. The events of last year, the sweeping events of last year across the Arab world,
Right.
tended to have shocked the world. Nobody anticipated that somebody like Mubarak would go so easily.
Right.
And nobody anticipated what happened in Libya
Right.
and the ongoing imbroglio in Syria,
Right.
which seems to get worse every day.
Right.
Those were new signs of new trends in the world. And we don't think it is the end of it because a number of factors came in together to make what happened in the Arab world a reality. I think so much has to do
Right.
with the growing awareness of the ordinary citizen and the empowerment that comes through these technologies of social media.
Right.
And I'm seeing a bit of that in Nigeria as we speak, because people are tweeting and people are sending text messages and using Facebook to convey situations from one part of the country to another.
Right.
And it tends to create some kind of solidarity and awareness.
Right.
People in one part of the country can see exactly in real time what is going on in other parts of the country.
Right.
It tends to bolden them. And once there is agitation in one part of the country,
Right.
the other people in other parts of the country tend to see it and respond accordingly.
Okay, I know you mentioned Nigeria is being a recurrence mentioned in your speech. By the way, for our viewers at home who are not really aware about this, the beginning of this year, actually January the 1st, the government actually lifted the subsidy on the major resources they have, which is the oil. And that has really created a reaction from the community in different spheres, in other parts of the country. So that's what our guest is really mentioning. And we're going to talk more about that because we want our viewers at home to know more about you. Since we're going to just talk about what's really happened. So aside from Arab Spring, of course, the fall of Gaddafi in 2011, we saw some other things. And you mentioned the impact of the social media, how that quickly is really helping out in communicating. You did not mention something which I want to bring up, which is the young people. The young people they were in the front of this. What is your take on that?
Yeah, I think you're right. But that also is connected with the new technology, the means of engagement. Right. And when we talk about the social network, and the new media,
Right.
it's actually the young people that are most active
Right.
in it.
Right.
So it's a source of empowerment. It's a sort of source of information. Young people now know more about the world than was the case 20, 30 years ago.
Absolutely.
And armed with this knowledge, armed with the technology to communicate, armed with other new technologies, we are seeing new momentum, new energy, new participatory roles by the younger generation in these social events across the world, but particularly now in the context of the Arab Spring of last year and now in Nigeria.
Okay, and I know we're going to talk more about what's going to happen in Nigeria with this upstart of things, and we be willing to bring a lot of people to have divergent opinion. Unfortunately, we don't have some other panels today, but you are here, right? So let's hear your opinion. In terms of what you do in Nigeria, I mean, what's your engagement? You have an office right here in the United States. Also, we want our viewers at home to know that as you are a lawyer, you have an office right here and also in Nigeria. So what other engagements are you? And
well, you know, I will refer to my past. In the last 10 years, I had been the lawyer that represented Nigerian government in the United States. And that was at a critical time when we had just transited from military government to the second coming of General Olusegun Obasanjo. I've watched that regime. I've watched the new dispensation of politics in Nigeria. And as a lawyer, ultimately, I opened offices in Nigeria. And I have been engaged in what I may call the present-day Nigeria. And we were there a couple of years ago when we saw the global meltdown of global economies and how it affected Nigeria. And Nigeria, being a relatively marginal player in the world economy, did not face direct impact. Yet, we still saw major economic contractions in Nigeria. But as you know, the main challenge for Nigeria had always been the question of governance. Getting it right in that department is probably what we needed to move forward. Unfortunately, I don't have so much of good news to say, to give to you. But I'm optimistic. You refer to the Arab Spring. You refer to global trends. No country, no system is now isolated. What happens in one part ultimately affects another part. So Nigerian government will inevitably wake up to the reality of the new world. So the crisis we're seeing in Nigeria today, as bad as it is, may pretty much be an indicator that change is not far away from us.
Change is coming, right?
Yes.
Okay, like Barack Obama said in America that change is coming to America. And we saw that in 2012, there's going to be elections, not only in America, but in other parts of the world. And I know we mentioned Nigeria, and there could be some election in Nigeria as well. You want to talk more about that and see how that affects the, in the economics of it as well.
You know, Nigeria is not really going to witness major elections in 2012, having just finished its general elections in 2011.
Absolutely.
But a few gubernatorial elections will be coming up this year. One, obviously, is the case of Bayelsa State, which happens to be the state from which the president comes.
Okay, just for our viewers at home, Bayelsa is in what part of Nigeria?
Bayelsa is in the oil delta part, the south part of Nigeria. Indeed, at the lowest tip of the Nigeria, and it's very rich in oil deposits. So it's definitely going to be a major player in terms of Nigerian economy. So we have watched closely the events relating to the re-election bid of Governor Silva. Of the PDP, as you know, and the tension that led to the PDP as a party rejecting him as a candidate, even though he's a sitting governor. So that's definitely an election for Nigerians to watch in 2012. There is another election coming up in Sokoto State, and probably we just finished one in Kogi State. And the ACN, the major or leading opposition party in Nigeria, gave PDP a very tough run. So we will witness that. And how PDP does in the state elections that will come up this year, it's difficult to predict. PDP remains the entrenched party. But also PDP remains the party that hurts itself the most. Look at the ongoing crisis with respect to how they handle they're handling the oil subsidy issue. In a vigorous democracy where you have sharp and well-balanced opposition, this could cost PDP the next elections.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But as you know, our democracy in Nigeria is still nascent, it's still growing, and we have certain distortions that would not have been the case in a more mature democracy.
And you mentioned that because just to let you know as well, this session is called Casual Politics. And casual politics is why we talk about politics, not only in America, also in other parts of the world. Because we thought it's very important for the diaspora, meaning, folks who are living outside their own country, to be engaged. How engaged are the diaspora, especially talking about Nigeria, since that's in our focus right now in the scheme of things?
To talk about the diaspora, the Nigerian diaspora, you have a mixed bag.
Okay.
Definitely the diaspora.
A big mixed bag, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
You have the diaspora community constitutes really a chunk of highly educated, highly competent, comparatively well-positioned professionals who could contribute immensely to Nigeria. Okay. Also, they possess tremendous resource, and they have been known to send these billions of dollars by way of remittances to Nigeria.
Absolutely.
So, but harnessing the diaspora energy for politics and transformation in Nigeria had been the challenge.
Where has that been?
And, I have been involved in this for a long time. Remember, when NIDO was set up.
And what's NIDO, by the way?
Nigerians in Diaspora Organization.
Okay.
I was actually the founding legal counsel for NIDO and the second chairman for NIDO.
Okay.
And you realized the president then, Obasanjo, was interested in NIDO. There was so much expectation and belief that NIDO was ultimately going to unlock the diaspora energy.
Right.
But it didn't go that way. Politics and some other distractions derailed that agenda.
Okay.
However, the potency of the diaspora community is something no one can dismiss as we speak. Look at what is going on in the social media. Look at the extent with which they communicate. Look at the energy. Even though sometimes a lot of that energy is not properly channeled. They use it to abuse each other.
Absolutely.
But honestly, we possess tremendous transformational capacity in the diaspora community. It's a question of making sure that that energy is properly harnessed and properly distilled, and that the diaspora community are adequately and fully engaged in the domestic politics in Nigeria. That is the challenge. And I will urge you to look, that's where you will expect to witness major changes in the coming future.
All right. And I think I'm really interested in that because from the point of strategy, I know folks have been able to come from here, from United States, to go in there and take a bite. I met a couple of people who have been able to get in the gubernatorial,
Yes.
Exactly. So from that standpoint, what do you think will be the strategy in 2012 for the engagement? Not only, of course, in economics, we send money home, which is, a default, right? Now in the scheme of things, in the leadership, in making those changes we are talking about.
Definitely. We will expect to see more cases of Nigerians in the diaspora going home to Nigeria to occupy positions, either in elective offices or in some appointment capacity. Ngozi Iweala is definitely one such diaspora. Batinaji, one such diaspora. And a few others with that sort of potential. It exists. We will see more of it. Don't forget that, comparatively speaking, Nigerians in the diaspora possess the best technology, the best know-how, the best opportunity in a new and changed scheme of events in Nigeria. Of course, politics is competition. I'm sure that their opponents in Nigeria will definitely do everything to keep them out of contest.
Absolutely.
But in the end, what happens is that the superior forces will prevail. So talking about looking at the professional aspect to this, you hear a lot about the medical mission. Nigerian doctors in the United States going to their respective states in Nigeria and trying to do so much by way of providing affordable, for a short period of time, affordable health care for villagers and people who otherwise had no access to modern medicine. Okay, in the area of law, we see that. My law firm is expanding rapidly into Nigeria. We are seeking to provide, build the most equipped, the most resourced law firm in Nigeria, Abuja and Lagos. At the same time, we are building Law Institute. I'm convinced that we need to do more by way of training of lawyers. So, and in that process, to build partnership between our entities in Nigeria and our affiliates in the United States. That is actually the process of global integration, which makes a difference. You know,
Great.
so that's it.
That's really wonderful. And I'm going to really quickly mention something about the synergy that really happens between this bridge and building this between the United States partners and, of course, the local entities as well. But that's important thing that when you talk about Nigeria, of course, we are in diaspora, we talk about the image, on how this image, we talk about corruption, which is a common denominator when you mention the word Nigeria. From your perspective as engaged diasporan, what has happened over the years in terms of the anti-graft organization in Nigeria, and how has that changed? Has there been a progress over the time?
Well, there is no doubt that corruption is the Achilles heel for Nigeria in terms of its seeming inability to make any meaningful progress in the direction of reducing corruption. I will disappoint the listeners by saying that I don't have a silver bullet for tackling corruption because it's so deeply embedded in the culture, in the system of governance, the entire legal system, the entire political system is so deeply enmeshed in corruption. But this is not for us to despair or to lose hope.
Absolutely.
When I advise officials in Nigeria, I always say to them, you're going to develop in spite of yourselves. I use the word in spite of themselves because a number of changes or forces that bring about changes are not really something that the governments engender. Okay. They resist these changes sometimes.
Oh my goodness.
And they ultimately recall.
I hope we have the whole day right here. I guess we're going to be able to bring you back one more time to talk about this, and hopefully in a panel format whereby we can have different viewpoints. But Mr. Emeka Nwoye, we thank you so much for coming in today. I hope we'll be able to bring more of you to talk about things, hopefully in the next couple of things, and see how the removal of the oil subsidy really works out in terms of whether the government actually maintain their ground or the people, the voice really won.
Thank you, Akin.
All right. Viewers at home, again, we come to another session of this special, wonderful time at Global Culture. And our special edition today is called Casual Politics, whereby we talk to people, individuals who are involved in cooperative politics in America and around the world. So again, we thank you so much for staying with us today. We're going to be bringing more guests to you. And I sign off for today. My name again is Akinwale Ojomo. And stay with us at Global Culture. Thank you.